Buonasera. Good afternoon. My name is John Waters, and I'm here this afternoon to introduce to you Harry Wu. For me, we live in a mass media age in which there is an intimacy with world events through television. But there can also be a sense of detachment from these events. We can become spectators. We don't become involved in the story. We derive some vicarious satisfaction or curiosity. The year 1989 was a very dramatic year in world politics. All of us remember towards the end of the year the collapse of communism in Eastern Europe, the coming down of the Berlin Wall, those scenes on the balcony in the square in Prague. And before that, earlier in the year, we had other events. For me, a particular day was the 5th of June. And this was a very important day for me personally. It was the day I buried my father. And I had been unaware of the news. And that day, two events struck me in a way because in the pub afterwards, in the public house afterwards, with the funeral party, I turned and looked at the television set. And the first image was of the burial of the Ayatollah Khomeini, who had died the day before. And you can imagine the effect this had on me personally after just burying my father. The crowds, hundreds of thousands of people, sought to stop the body of the Ayatollah being put into the ground. And later in the day, there occurred an event which created an even more dramatic image. And this is an image which will be remembered as long as the human memory lasts. Of a man confronting a tank on Tien An Men Square. This one human being confronting the machine of the power. And he climbed upon the tank and he spoke to the driver of the tank. And he asked him, "Why are you here?" And this is the question we all have to ask ourselves. And this was a strange moment for other reasons as well, because for some 20 years we had believed that the problem of China had disappeared. That China was moving towards freedom and democracy. And these images through the months of 1989 changed this view for us. We were no longer able to escape the reality of China. And this story went way before this. It began a long time before. And this man, Harry Wu, was the protagonist in this story. Because he, like that man in the square, stood up to the machine. And this is the event that has defined his life. Just to give you the background of this man's life. He was born in Shanghai in 1937. He came from a wealthy family. His father was a banker. His mother was descended from a landlord family. And following the coming together to power of the Communist Party in 1949, his family was stripped of its wealth. His father lost his job. He became a teacher because they were deemed to be of the exploiting classes. In 1957, Mao Zedong launched the 100 Flowers campaign, which purported to allow people to speak out, to dissent about the Communist Party and about communism. And some people took this perhaps a little too literally. And perhaps among these was Harry Wu, who, as a result of his background, as a result of issues which we will now explore, he was arrested and branded a counter-revolutionary. And eventually he was sentenced to be educated through labour. In one of the notorious Laogais of China, these prison camps which are really have not yet penetrated into the West and the culture of the West in the way that the word gulag, for example, or concentration camp. And yet, as Harry Wu will tell us, more people have suffered, more people have died in these places than in the Nazi and the Soviet camps together. Following his release in 1979, Harry Wu went to the United States eventually, where he became a teacher and has been campaigning to publicize this situation, and really, I think, for me, it is a question of being confronted, being challenged. By this story, because just as that moment in the pub when I looked at the screen and saw something which resonated with my humanity, I must interrogate myself about my responsibility in these matters. Am I a spectator or am I a participant? What is the responsibility of my conscience in this matter, in the question of an international political issue? So I would like, first of all, with Mr. Wu, to go back to the beginning of your family and the moment when this began to change. Your childhood was a relatively happy one, I believe, until this began in your early teenage years to change.
Okay. I have 45 minutes?
More, an hour.
More. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Harry Wu, but my real name, Chinese name, is Wu Hongda. I born in 1937. So today, I'm 72 years old. So before 1949 means the Communist established the regime, I was 12 years old. My father was a banker, and we have a pretty good life. And when I was 12 years old, I became a Catholic. So I did not know that Catholic is the problem. The communists come to the regime, first of all, they're launching a campaign, so-called land reform. Because communism talking about disappear two parties, bourgeois parties and landlord parties. So the landlord element is actually just right away killed by the peasants. And bourgeois are also prosecuted. My father was a manager, but later he sold his properties to support the family, and in 1957 he became a counter-revolutionary rightist. 1957, I was 20 years old. I do not realize that I have two problems. First, I was Catholic. Second, I'm a member of the bourgeois class. So at that time, the Mao Zedong launching a campaign, so-called 100 Flower Bloom movement. And encourage the people to speak out. But I'm 20 years old. I just have a girlfriend. I play baseball. I'm the captain of the team. And we are champion team of Beijing area. And that's it. I never participate any any parties. Okay. And my major is geology. But once because 1956, the Soviet invasion in Hungary. And this is a big problem, because this first time the people fight with the communist regime. I really doubt about it. I asked the General Secretary, say, what's the problem? Okay. I think this is a violation of human rights. But this is the question I presented. But later that became my charge. And then the other charge is in 1950, 1960, 1970, in China, we never call any people like a gentleman, ladies, mistress, never call this. We all call each other comrades. But in my class, 30 students, 23 of them, they are communist member or communist youth league. And 7 of them, they are not a member of the party. So the monitor gathering the people and say, well, today we have a conference, comrades and students. That means we are not the member of the party. We will separate from the comrades. And I feel this is something wrong. I say, well, you have to adjust it. These are 2 major charges. And then later, the movement turned into anti-rightist. Mao Zedong at the time ready to prosecute most of the intellectuals. At that time in China, we called the intellectuals probably totally 5 million, but actually 1 million at least was labeled as a counter-revolutionary righteous. So my case is not a simple individual case, because the country launching a campaign. Of course, I did not realize that. I said, no, I'm not a counter-revolutionary. And they said, well, your attitude is very bad. You will be punished. 1960, when I graduate, we are waiting for the job arrangement. And one day, the police come to the school and gathering all the students and present me a paper. But he, using his hand, cover the upper part of the paper, and then he say, sign the bottom. So until this moment, until today, I have not seen the paper, but I signed it. But why they arrest me, what the reason, until today I never know. So I was straightforward to the prison camp. The first night, the warden had an interrogation with me. And he said, did you know your sentence? I said, nobody tell me. And then she said, okay, I'll look in your file. He said, sorry, you are sentenced to life. So the iron door was closed behind me. And I was forced to labor. And there's no any judgment, no any opportunity to be free me. Until 1979, finally I got a release. Just as you know, 1976, Mao Zedong was died. And there's a seriously power struggle in the high leadership systems. And Deng Xiaoping come back and he said, I don't care what is the color of the cat, whatever black and white, if the cat can catch the mouse, should be the good cat. So they released some of us, because most of them, after 20 years, they will die. I was very lucky I survived. The time I was relieved from the camp, I just don't know how to walk on the street. Physically, I'm able to walk, but I feel very strange because I do not know that I'm a free man with others. Okay. Now let me review that. What is my life in the prison camp? Oh, this is not right. Okay. This is the coal mine. I take the shot in 1991. There is a big wall. There's a 3 sentence on the wall. The first sentence say, "Who are you?" Second sentence is, "What is this place?" The third sentence is, "What are you doing here?" Every day when I get in the camp, I have to stand in front of it and give the answer. I have to say, I'm prisoners, and this is labor camps, and I was forced to labor over here. And this is the coal mine. I almost lost my life over there because the coal mine was collapsed. I was in 12 different camps. I growing the grapes, just I saw in your yard. But I'm not a good guy in a prison camp. Because at the beginning, some people robbed my food, stealing my food, beat me, and put me down. And later I know how to protect myself, how to remove the food from other people. I don't know what is the major thing I have to thinking about. I just thinking about I have to life. This is a coal mine entrance. Where's the man? Where's the... Oh, yeah. This is a coal mine. Okay. No. Oh, jeez. This was 1991. I back to the prison camp. Can you stop it? Okay. So 1979, I got a release. I will remain in China. 6 years later, I got an invitation. I went to the United States at UC Berkeley as a visiting scholar. I was 50 years old. And I know that this is the only chance that I could become a real free man. But I never tell the people that I was in a prison camp for my life. I want to turn the page over. I don't want to talk about it. It's over. I just want to earn the money, want to start a family, and starting my new life. My father was passed away. He was a counter-revolutionary, same as me. My youngest brother also is counter-revolutionary, and he also passed away. But you have to know my younger brother is very, very sad story. When 1968, he graduated from the medical university and he went to the countryside working for the peasants. He wanted to separate from his family because the family is a counter-revolutionary family. But my father told him very clearly, you like the drawing, but don't draw any Chairman Mao. You can draw the workers, peasants, soldier, but don't try to draw Chairman Mao portrait. And my brother was very angry. He said, what are you talking about? You, damn it, is an old counter-revolutionary, and you don't like Chairman Mao. I love Chairman Mao. And you know, later, there's 100,000 people just because it's Chairman Mao portrait and be executed inside China. And my father right away said, no, I didn't do anything. Okay, I don't want to talk about it. So my brother was leave family and go to the countryside. He wanted to become a rear guards. He wanted to follow Chairman Mao. He wanted to become a soldier of Chairman Mao. Unfortunately, in the countryside, he found in his dormitory the Chairman Mao portrait was damaged. And everybody at the time so respect the Chairman Mao. So he reported to the rear guards headquarters, say some people doing something wrong because they try to damage the Mao portrait. And the rear guards suspect my brother did. Because your brother, they told him, your brother was in a prison camp. And your father also is a counter-revolutionary righteous. So my younger brother was tortured, beaten, become mental disabled. But finally was arrested by Beijing police and prosecuted, was dead. During the 19 years, nobody talked to me. Nobody come to see me. I've become lonely in the world. So when I was in America, I just feel I have to review my life. I don't want to remember what could happen to me. But in 1990, American Senator Jesse Helms invited me to testify in the American Senate. But I do not know how many camps and how many prisoners was in China. Even today, I never know how many prison camps. And the American Senate asked me, say, can you find out that how many prison camps inside China? And how many prisoners there? 1991, I went back to China, make the investigation. And I find, according to my study, I found that more than 50 million prisoners and more than thousands prison camps. And Chinese right away put me on the wanting list. I tried to go back, but I was forbidden. But in 1994, I was immigrated to American citizen. and I'm back to China again. I was in China more than 5 weeks. And BBC correspondent was a part with me, and we investigate Chinese prison camp. And we also find out a new problem, organ transplant. Because Chinese authority executed the prisoners' number larger than the people was executed by any government. 8,000 to 10,000 a year. In 2006, Chinese government proudly said, United States is the first organ transplant country. They have organ transplant 15,300. China is the number 2 country of the world, 13,000. But in America, there's no any organ come from executed prisoners. But in China, it, 95% the organ is come from executed prisoners. So what is my real life in the prison camp? If I'm working in a camp, it's an agricultural camp. So when the sun's growing, we line up and escort by the police and go to the field. And the police put the corner, the red flag. We was in the forbidden area. If we work in the coal mine, 2 shifts a day, 12 to 12. So this is a common life. And the labor was related to the food ration. Food is not free. The police always say, good labor, good food, less labor, less food, no labor, no food. And also subject to thought reform. For example, once I was interviewed a Catholic priest. You see, all of the Catholic priests, including foreigners, foreign priests expelled, Chinese priests, all of them sent to the labor camps. Only a few survived. They spent 32 years, 33 years, and now they live in California. And one of the priests told me that he was put in the solitary confinement. I said, why they put you solitary confinement? And what is the condition? I told him that I was put in solitary confinement. And the solitary confinement is made by cement, 3 feet wide, 3 feet height, 6 feet long. In the front, there's an iron bar. This is my solitary confinement. I was there 11 days. And the priest said that, oh, my solitary confinement may be better than yours. He said 4 by 5, and I can stand probably 12 feet height. But I can tell you that underground there's 1 feet deep water. I said, why they put you in the solitary confinement? Because every day, every prisoners, we have to political study. We have to uphold the communism. You cannot believe into God. You cannot process any religious activities. But the priest say, I can't. So I find a quiet place. I just do my workshop, and some people, police, that reported. That's why they put me in the solitary confinement. The last bishop was arrested in 1956. Since then, there's no Roman Catholic until today. 1995, as I said, I spent 5 weeks inside China. I thought this is a very good trip because I recognize many prison camps, and I signed a contract with the prison camp to buy their products, and I interviewed the doctor who removed the organ from the executed prisoners. In the next year, 1995, I was arrested by the Chinese authority again. But I have not went into China. I was in the border. I have legal passport, Chinese passport. No, I'm sorry. I have legal American passport and legal Chinese visa. But Chinese police at the customer arrest me and take me into China, and then they sentenced me another 15 years from 1995 to 2010 because they say I tried to steal state secrets. I have nothing to talk about it. I just tell the judge, your judgment is right. But fortunately, I want to tell you that this is not the state secrets, because Chinese government released the white paper in Geneva, and probably your government leader also received the Chinese report talking about Chinese prison camp is the best system of the world. In the white paper, Chinese government said the prisoners enjoy their life. They're working 8 hours a day. They have fresh air. They have enough food. They have health insurance. Even they can enroll in university. And I say, I back to China only looking for the prison camp. Why you charge me stealing state secrets? But we know since 1950, Soviet Gulag expert arranged by Stalin come to China, set up the Chinese Gulag. Since then until today, if anyone disagree with the communists and disagree with the communism, they were sentenced to the Laogai camp. Even today, Sitao is one of it. Liu Xiaobo will be another one. Well, today the people have different view. Because in your market, you can see many Chinese products. In America, you can see many business contracts. Whatever IBM, General Motors, Yahoo, Cisco, whatever, they went to China, sign a contract, whatever, buy the products or sell the products. It seems they can make money. And then American experts say, well, this is the way to promote capitalism in China. And there's so many articles talking about China's changing. Today, Chinese systems, it means communist system, in political area, fundamentally have not changed. China until today is one ism, one party, one government. No election. You can do all kinds of business in China. You can set up a factory. You can set up a bank. You can set up insurance company. But you cannot set up publishing company. You cannot set up a TV station. You cannot set up a radio station. You cannot run a grammar school. You cannot run a university. And the whole area was entirely controlled by the communists. It is true. Today, most of Chinese members of the Communist Party, they are bourgeois. It's very different from the first 30 years. They suppose is a proletarian. And today, the communist members, they are not proletarian at all. They are bourgeois. Capitalists can join a party. But anyway, the country was ruling by Chinese communists. Last July, I have a chance. I met President Bush in the White House. He warmly welcomed me and asked me, say, what is the problem inside China? Well, I feel this is a very strange question. Before I answer the question, he gave the answer. He said, human rights. I said, gosh, human rights. Unfortunately, he never had the answer to any other politician, including Chinese ambassador or Chinese prime minister. And I said, yes. I pull out a paper. The report of the House, American Congress. They passed a bill in December 2005. Condemned Chinese Laogai systems. Because Nazi Hitler set up the Holocaust in Germany, in Europe. Approximately, they persecuted 12 million Jewish. And in Germany and other countries, everybody have to pass over that to say you are Jewish, or you're 50% Jewish, or you are not Jewish. 12 million. They killed 6 million. Soviet, according to their communism ideology, approximately they persecuted 25 million. And Chinese, approximately they killed 50 million. And the two classes, landlord class and bourgeois class, finally disappear from China. But unfortunately, until today, very few people recognize that. 1993, I answered Washington Post correspondent. I hope I want to see Laogai, Laogai, become a popular word in every dictionary. Because Gulag, G-U-L-A-G, is created by Alexander Solzhenitsyn. And everybody today understand what is the meaning of Gulag. 10 years later, 2003, Oxford Dictionary entered the Laogai word. And then followed that German, Italian, French, Japan, all the dictionary enter this word. I feel proud of it because Laogai became a popular word. But until today, we don't have a museum. We don't have enough people testimonies. We don't have enough government documents. And we don't have enough people recognized it. Pretty soon, I will pass away. For me, I only set up a word and enter the dictionary. For you, not all of you, maybe some of you, I hope you can follow this word. Find out that how many prison camps and how many people was persecuted. Even today, China is a democracy country. This is a basic human rights issue. In this November, Obama is going to visit China. I have no chance in this moment to talk to Obama. But I really wish he can change the previous two governments to American Clinton administration and Bush administration policy. Because the two governments ignoring Chinese human rights issue. Just verbally talking about human rights violations, but actually there's no any activity to condemn, to point out the Chinese human rights violation. For example, China is the only country in the world have so-called planned birth control, or you say population control. This policy was in China until today more than 30 years. What is this? Every woman, it doesn't matter their marriage or unmarriage, if they don't have government permit, they cannot pregnancy. If you have the government permit, you can give a birth. Then you can free to make a love with the husband. And then you have a first child. That's it. You never can have second child. Illegal. Subject to forced abortion. If you run away, hiding, and give the birth, and they will arrest you and force to sterilization. In 2005, Chinese government said, we still keep our population at 1.3 billion. That means in the last couple of 10 years, we cut off 3 billion. Can we ask Chinese government how you cut it off? 3 billion population. This year, Chinese government announced it. They have 13 million forced abortion. But we know that in America, there's many women today, they was forced abortion, even they have the kids, even 8 months, 9 months pregnancy. Of course, the population control remains as a big problem. Today, the male and female, the gender is different. Male and female, the rate is 100 to 135, 140. It's a big problem in the near future. And ridiculously, the Chinese government said, because we don't have enough agricultural land to support the people's life. And as you know, Japan, India, Switzerland, some other countries, they don't have enough agricultural land. They still have a big population. Okay. Actually, the problem is the government administration system cannot offer enough job, enough food. Today, the people involved politics. I mean, you disagree with the government, or you want to set up your party, or you want to protect the human rights. You also will go to the prison camp. Even today, the political criminal or conscience prisoners less than before. But you can see that it's a still large number. The government today has number of the money. For example, they have more than 700 billion American pound. I asked Chinese government, can you spend 10%, 70 billion for the people's, peasants, health insurance, children's education, or their housing, or their food? That's a big money. But unfortunately, the government never do it. They're holding the money for balanced Americans. We do not know which could happen. Maybe it could happen. The party collapsed. Just as you know how the communist system in Soviet Union disappeared. But we do not know what could happen. Last March, Chinese massacred many Tibetans. You have to know this is a very large massacre. Mr. Walter mentioned the Tien An Men Square movement 20 years ago. And probably 300, 400 people was killed. But last year, they killed almost the same number of the Tibetans. And this year, it means last month, they massacred many, many Uyghurs. This government depends on the massacre, depends on the repress, depends on the Laogai systems. I'm not going to say you have to apply economic sanction. I'm not going to say you have to stop buy the product made by Chinese prisoners. I'm not going to say have to promote Roman Catholic inside China. I'm not going to say the Tibetans have the rights for their future. But I have to say, when you are free, when you're after your lunch, sometimes thinking about the people inside China, they cannot go to the church. They have no church. They cannot free give a birth. They cannot free to criticize the government. They cannot free to write a report on the website. I think maybe this is some advice from me. That's only I want to say to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wu. I would like to ask you just at the end one question, which is of a human nature, the deepest level. 19 years, we mentioned 1989, which is 20 years ago. which seems a long time ago to me. So many things have happened in all our lives since it. This is approximately the amount of time you spent not knowing, not just suffering day to day, torture and hunger and so on, but not knowing what the future held. What in you did you find to survive that? What was this resource you found that enabled you? Was there hope at any time? Was there anything that you could hold on to?
I'm sorry. The question you asked me, actually, I ask myself all the time. I cannot answer to myself. You know, I was a Catholic. At the beginning, couple of years, I prayed to God. Once I saw in my dormitory many people passed away. And I said, well, maybe I was a bad guy. But those people passed away, not all of them bad. And why you just, the God cannot help them? And then the second time I saw another people die, I just feel maybe I only can help, ask the God to help. And I feel there's no help. Since then, I entirely forgive the God. I turn myself into a beast. I'm just looking for food. You know, my best skill, I can show you that I can walk beside the ditch and catch the frogs. Okay. I can right away catch the mouse for you. I don't care what is it. I have no hope, no future. Nothing really support me. And nobody come to see me. And totally is out of the human society. I just don't know how can I survive. So that's why I'm telling you, the first day they release me, I just feel how to walk around on the street with the people. Okay. Even I came to the United States, I did not thinking about revenge. I did not thinking about love. I just feel, okay, I just want money, want a family, want a peaceful life. That's it. In America, I was passed over the Catholic Church. I did not went in there. But once I went in and spent 2 hours, I didn't come out. I just feel that God was with me. But I really don't know that how can I survive.
And one other question. The people who imprisoned you, the people who tortured you, the people you were with, they were human beings. They were Chinese men like you. From observing these people and seeing what they could do, how can you look to the human species for redemption, for a hope?
I remember one thing. Once I was in a dormitory, and in this particular camp, we call 5A6 concentration camp. Because this is a nationwide starvation. And the police select the people who is very weak and very close to die and concentrate in one camp. This means 585 concentration camp. I was there. There's no labor, and just every day sit over there. That's it. And in my dormitory, probably 20 people there. We covered by the blanket, and one bowl here, one bowl here. One bowl for shit. One bowl for the glue. Okay. And every day I only have 2 times food. 10 o'clock in the morning and afternoon 4 o'clock. We was covered by the blanket, and I told everybody, cover your eye by your T-shirt. Don't try to see anything. Don't try to think anything. If the cook come in the room and serve you the glue, if someone didn't come up for the food, that means he was dead. Then we call the duty prisoner, move out the body. And next to me, there's another one. He come from Fujian province, and his last name is Tian An Men. And I always come up, I put my bowl over there, waiting for the cook, give me the glue. And she did not come up. And I report to the cook, say, you go to the police report, there's another one. But every day, they move out 1 or 2 or 3, and move in 1 or 2 or 3. Every day. Okay. So this is quite usual. Remember, at that time, nobody cried. Nobody yelling. Nobody talking. They just peacefully just die. So after the dinner, the police come, the duty prisoner come here, wrap the blanket, move out. Outside there's another room. I don't know how many is already dead over there. Next morning, they will move out to bury it. So he moved out. But in the midnight, suddenly he come back. He's not walking. The people carry him back to I said, what's the problem? He said, oh, he was survived. He's not died. So he removed from the death room back to my neighbor. And I say, well, I have to help him. What kind of help? The most important, he missed the dinner. Okay? And I right away call the police, say, hey, you have to give him the dinner. And police said, tomorrow. I said, no, not tomorrow. He will die. And the police said, okay. The police cannot write any word. Okay? Damn it. And I write the paper, and then she said, okay, go ahead. He got 4 ounces corn. And then the cook it, bring it over here to Tian An Men. He right away ate it. He right away died. I killed him. Okay. So this is the experience.
Thank you. This story is a challenge to us. It's a challenge to our ambivalence and our conscience. We need to look at certain things. In a town close to where I live, there is a restaurant called Mao's. And once my daughter said to me, let's go to Mao's, they have nice food there. And she had been with her mother. And I said, okay, but why don't we go to Hitler's or Stalin's? This is the question we must face, that in certain contexts we have an ambivalence. We do not see clearly. The issue of the birth control, which Harry Wu has spoken about, is another example. We talk about freedom. We talk about human rights, but only in a selective way. Because there is a problem for the West in this context. How can the West speak about abortion in China when in the West abortion is called a freedom?
Are you free to make a love?
Yes. Come on.
I think why I want to mention Chinese population control, because men and women, they love each other. They definitely make a love. I think this is very, very natural. Okay? You want to make longer time or shorter time. You can make it today. I don't want to make it tomorrow. Even your parents cannot say, stop it. Your parents cannot say, you don't make the love with them. But Chinese policy is 30 years. You can't free to make a love. What are you talking about freedom?
No. The point I make, Mr. Wu, is that we have this hypocrisy. Because we have a certain view, some of us, not all of us in the West, but politically, more and more, we seek to promote abortion as what is called a freedom. It is not. I don't regard it as a freedom. I understand. I'm making a point about our hypocrisy and our ambivalence towards China. That the issue you raised goes to the heart of the necessity for truthfulness from us, the necessity for absolute clarity about the reality, that this policy is a fundamental attack on the human rights of the living and of those who have not been born, who will not be born because of it. And in the same way, I believe is in China, this policy, as you say, bears down upon the human being. I also believe that our attitudes in the West towards abortion bear down upon the human being in a similar way. Not in the same way, because of course this is state enforced. But I think this is the key to one of the keys to understanding why the West is ambivalent about China. There are other reasons to do with economics, with our vested interest in cheap goods, with our desire to create a harmony, a superficial harmony in the world. But what I am saying is that we need to challenge ourselves, to challenge our own attitudes, and ask ourselves, why is it? How can we possibly oppose the policies of the Chinese government until we clarify for ourselves what is a human right?
Well, I just remember today, Afghanistan have a vote. Okay? Everybody vote. China have a vote? No. It's a basic difference. But in your newspaper, in your radio station, in your TV, all the time talking about Chinese economy. Okay? What is them talking about? Right? A couple of years ago, former President Carter talking about village election. Okay. It seems to him from village and then go to county and the province and go to the century. Come on, what are you talking about? It never. It is never. That's why I'm saying Wu Jintao is not selected by the people, even not selected by the member of the party. That's it. This is a dictatorship.
Thank you. After the encounter just now, Mr. Wu will sign this book, which he recently wrote, Strage de Innocenti. It's the story of this policy of enforced birth control in China. So anybody who wants to take the book, he will be available to sign it afterwards. I would like to thank Mr. Wu for coming here today to tell us his experience, first of all. And I would like to thank you for coming. Thank you.
That's it.